I've always considered myself to be a spiritual person. But once I received my cancer diagnosis, I knew that I needed to walk the talk more often than I had in the past. Yoga was one of those, and is one of those ways that my spirituality is reflected. I think of the yoga principles of being centered, of the mind-body connection, all of those things I believe in. And I knew that I had to really hold on to those beliefs and practice those beliefs regularly in order to have the strength, the courage, the balance to move forward with my diagnosis and my treatments. It's not just a matter of thinking yourself well. It's a matter of putting yourself in that place of calm and peace and acceptance. It just brings me to a place of saying, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. On March 15th, 2011, I had gone in for a checkup with my primary care physician. The moment I walked into the door, the nurse said, "Oh my gosh, you look awful, Susan." I was really taken aback because I hadn't thought that I looked awful. I knew I had been very tired, but I had been working on a big work project, something that was very new for me, and it had taken many hours of work. So I knew I was tired. I didn't think I looked awful though. I walked in then to see the doctor, who also said, "You look awful." So that was the day he took some blood from me to run some lab work. By the end of the day, the doctor called and said, "The emergency room is waiting for you. You need a transfusion immediately." No one knew what it was. So off we went to the hospital, where I was admitted for 4 days. And during the course of those 4 days, I had 7 transfusions and a bone marrow biopsy. They still didn't know what I had. A week later, March 22nd, I received the news that I had multiple myeloma, a blood cancer. One of the things that I thought about quite a bit as I was going through those really early days of my diagnosis were my kids. I thought a lot about my kids. I thought about when they were born, how happy we were. They were just such joyous occasions. I thought about Christmas. I thought about birthdays. I remember being so excited a year after my diagnosis when I was able to go on a camping trip with my son. It had been such a horrific year of treatment, year and a half of treatment, really a horrific year of treatment, so challenging. And one of the things I just loved doing was to hike, and I never thought I would do it again. I never thought I would do it again. And here I was. And my most favorite camping place in Acadia
Acadia National Park, and my son was with me, and we had such a wonderful time, really. It brought me great joy.
The day that we received the diagnosis from Dr. Sims, Susan had been through a series of hospital stays and tests. She was actually feeling a lot better. The doctor called us in to his office to inform us as to what they've determined. So, he took us into a small office with a conference table, and he sat us down, and he said, unfortunately, we thought that this could be several different things, but unfortunately, it's cancer. And when you hear that word, it's the most frightening thing you hear in your life. Susan was just sitting there, very stoic. And the first thing she asked the doctor was, how much time do I have? For me and Susan, it's been a long life together. We started dating in high school, true high school sweethearts, and at age 17. And I remember our first date, we went to the drive-in movies and saw Young Frankenstein. We had a great time through the last couple of years in high school, and we went to different colleges, and we were a couple on and off during college, mostly on, and we got married immediately after college.
When you have cancer, you need to look for support. I think every person who has cancer comes to learn that lesson pretty quickly. I think, I've always had the streak of independence in me, that I can do it alone, I can go it myself, I can get things done on my own. When you have cancer, you suddenly are aware that you don't have to go it alone. There's no need to go it alone. And it's a much easier journey when you have others supporting you. With multiple myeloma, there aren't many people in the entire country who have multiple myeloma. I think maybe 20,000 in the entire United States. So finding support can be a little challenging. But there are organizations out there. I turn often to the Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation. I turn to my family, I turn to my friends, I turn to people that I've met in the hospital or the oncologist or online. Support is there. Support is there. And if you have cancer, you can find that support. But I have to go back to the mind-body connection, because even if you have that support, if you do not keep yourself in a peaceful place, you're doing more harm than good. I think everyone with cancer needs to know that. You need to accept that you have this diagnosis, and your attitude will impact your recovery.